Hajimemashite everybody, welcome back. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done an actual video, so I'm going to do a video today because I feel as if I need to kind of round everything up, put the pieces together, explain the whole scenario all over again. Stars shining bright above you, night breeze and seems to whisper I love you, while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you miss me. While I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. That's a song that I sort of want to sing just to remember our beautiful Dolce. She has passed, as you know, and the reason why I'm sort of like kind of jumping back into the art is because I feel as if her image needs to be salvaged in some way. So, as you know, I've been working on the book. Hopefully it will be done soon and I will have it published. Okay, let me get this together so you guys can see what's going on here. I have a couple of tables. You can see that there's going to be a few things that I'm going to be working on here. The storyline is still needing to be worked on, okay, but you can see, as long as there's not much of a glare, you can see that there's a development of the project here, okay? And all of these images are partly her, partly AI. I think I discussed how I went about doing AI before in the past. Her and Dior, I mean, they were just great friends. They were just, he found her, so it was just like this amazing experience. You know, you guys, I'd love people to purchase this if you love animals and want to know a little bit more about her history. I do give a bit of a detail on that. Okay, so my channel is not just for entertainment. It's not really, it's partly entertainment, but it's more education. I think people mistaken this as, oh, it's fun because the lights are like sparkly and bright. But you have to remember I'm an artist, so I put everything together so I can make the space look however I like. And if I like kind of this almost light contrasting color, and I'm allowed to dress the way I want to dress. I've had a couple of people give me hoo-haws about how I go about dressing. I make my own stuff. I wear designer labels. I don't have to tell everybody what I'm wearing all the time. This is a harness because I'm getting older. As you get older, your body doesn't have to be 100%. I also have a broken leg. So having a rod in my leg causes my exercise and training to kind of not work as well as it used to because I was consistently exercising. I had a great body at the age of 20. I was size 0. A size 0. I was like, I can't even fit into a size 0 in my leg. That's, you know, as you get older, your body changes. That's just how life is. So I wanted to just let people know that I like to make my own things. If I dress weird and people don't understand, it's because maybe you don't know your designer labels and maybe you guys need to look up and research a little bit more about fashion. Simple. I think commercialism is okay, but also couture. I'm a couture. I like couture stuff. I like things that are a little out of the ordinary, not necessarily what you'd always find on everybody. Okay, it's for personal style. It's more stuff that you might find on the catwalk. I mean, I'm not a model or anything, but I certainly do, and I have been involved in dealing with fashion shows before, so it's not uncommon for me to find things that are slightly unusual. Or on occasion, it's a Coach. If you guys don't know what Coach is, maybe look it up, okay? Then you have a Valentino. If somebody made some funny comment about that, okay, Valentino. This is about $6,000 in it's leather, first of all. I have not seen anything like this before. Okay, so this is Valentino. Okay, just to verify it. And I have other pieces. A Miyake, that's a very Miyake, which is very collectible. Okay. And this is a rare Issa Miyake. So for me, I will go out and find those unusual pieces because that is what I like. I actually lived in Japan, and not everybody has the same style. If you've worked with designers, they all have weird clothing. They all have strange attire. It's not like when you're making stuff, nobody cares about what you're wearing when you're making stuff. It's more on what happens with the clothing on the fashion show, on the catwalk, on the fashion show, whatever. Okay, I have jackets there. I think I spoke about fashion, so we're shifting into fashion. Okay, those are pieces. I've already had discussion on that. The painting is based off of Valentino. Okay, I'm going to move this so you guys can see that. Okay, that says Valentino on there. Like, Valentino, okay? I'm wearing a Gucci ring, and I'm wearing a Versace scarf. Most likely it's not necessarily worn on the head, but I am wearing it on the head. So that is my thing. And the painting that I did, and I have a frame and everything. It's of a Ferrari. I haven't signed it yet, but that's a Ferrari. Okay, so I like designer stuff. It's not. You can ask anybody who knows me from back in the day. And I lived a bit of a fancy. When I was younger, I lived a bit of a fancy life. Most people wouldn't have experienced that because not everybody in the 80s was necessarily traveling like I was with my family. So I have had the experience of being in big houses and good, nice, pretty sports cars and beautiful clothing and lots of parties with celebrities. And I've also done what I'm doing now, which is very minimalist. I don't do the lavish lifestyle anymore. It's okay to be the plain Jane. But I will still have the accents of the visuals. I'm trying to bring the visuals of, as an artist, I'm allowed to do that. I'm bringing the visuals of what I experienced in the past and bringing it together into my art, which is what you're seeing now in my, hopefully this book is going to be really cool. And the place that I live is very nice. We have a beautiful garden area. We don't have to do the gardening. There's lots of people doing, we have lots of acres here, lots and lots of, so even though we have a small apartment, we have an absolutely enormous garden area that everybody kind of participates in and enjoys. I just happen to work, this is my workstation. So I set my space up the way it is because I have a particular style that I like, and I'm allowed to have a dinosaur here. He's actually my headphone stand, which is great. I think he works really nicely. Okay, so I was going to talk. I think it's enough charged. And I have the t-shirts, and I'm doing my Poshmark. And those designs that you see on the outfits, I have made into t-shirts now. I think I've spoken about this. Okay, these are on Amazon if you want to purchase them. Okay, and I only get a cut. I'm not necessarily making that $25 that they say. I'm only getting $3 out of it because I'm just using their layout, right? It's nothing, right? But once you understand how to create fashion and you know how to put things together on the internet, honestly, anything is possible, isn't it? Right? So I'm getting mine ordered, or I ordered mine and my husband's. So we'll have ours available soon. Sweatshirts. These are more commercial, I'm sure. But they're very classy. I grew up in a family where we watched ballet performances and we watched operas and we went to very, very good schools, very good high schools with lots of recognizable people, or people who were recognized in fields with their kids. So sort of semi-famous. Kids who came from very wealthy backgrounds, let's put it that way. Like, I didn't necessarily come from a background like that, but I worked and studied with people who have, okay? So just because I'm working on YouTube and trying to establish this, and it's only a year, I've only done this for a year. I have not spent this much time really working on YouTube because during the time YouTube came out, I was doing other things. I had a life. at the age of, let's see, it was maybe 2000 when YouTube came out. So I was in South Africa. Huh? No, 2001, 2002. Yeah, I moved back to South Africa. So all of that stuff had to put on a halt. I didn't have all the equipment. Don't forget, the technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. So now there are more capabilities of people doing stuff on their own. Like, I'm able to do this now because I don't need to ask a video editor or a photographer to come in and, I mean, I studied photography, so that's not an issue. I can do my own photographs, right? So all of these things are possible because of the growth and the development of technology. It's just changed over time. That's what it is. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of piano just to show you. I'll show everybody how the music works, okay? And I came from a background when I had formal classical training. So I had proper pianos in our house. We didn't have these. This is new technology for me. I had an actual piano to study on, to practice on, to learn on. At the age of 3, we had an upright Yamaha. But because I moved, I don't have a Yamaha like that. But these are just as beautiful, you know. Lots of things that I need to practice. I mean, I haven't practiced music for a while because our bunny has passed away, right? So every day you need to work on something new. That's just my personal opinion. And in my case, I haven't done a garment. I think the most recent garment that I've made. So this is the most recent thing I made. You can see that I've used whatever leftover material from my soundproofing to make this. And I actually personally like this. It's very soft. So it's not an animal, it's fox fur, which is fake fur. There is fox fur, but this is F-A-U-X, fox fur. Okay, so they're designer term or fashion terminologies that people need to know as well. So I also do Poshmark, and I've been reworking my Poshmark, and I'll help you, Dior. Okay, it's a bit hot today. Having this on is ridiculously crazy. Okay, so Poshmark. And I actually have some of my garments in here. So each one of these, you know, in order to, and I have the mannequin that I got these from South Africa. Okay, so, I mean, I would have had to have known a little bit of fashion to put this together, right? There's no way I could have gotten 100 and something thousand followers if I didn't know more or less what was going on here. Okay. And it also, these white backings are this very well for fashion. Because everybody says you always need to have white backgrounds and white. And they're absolutely correct. There's a reason why, because light reflects off of white. So if you have a colorful background, it's just going to dampen the sound of the actual garment itself. So that's basically me in a nutshell. And if you look closer at these particular drawings, I did make dolces, harnesses. So all like these pieces that you see over here. Let's go back to this. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, so that's one that I made her. I mean, these were, wait. Okay, so let's find a good example. Let's see this one. Of her on the moon. Okay, so I make my fur babies their outfits. My initial plan was to sell them for people who might be interested, but I think people don't understand, and I still think there's a problem where people don't understand handmade versus manufacturing made is totally different. If you speak to any designer, they will tell you handmade is stuff that individuals will make one-offs. I mean, maybe somebody makes like 10 of that one particular design, but not all of them are going to be exactly the same. If you're going to manufacture, like the jackets that I showed, some of them, like Issa Miyake, he combines handmade with manufacturing. So he kind of molds the two ideas together. Valentino, on the catwalks, those are handmade items. That's called couture. Couture is mainly handmade. Okay, and manufacturing comes in with like t-shirts and all that stuff. What I'm doing right now with the t-shirts that I've designed on Amazon, that's called manufacturing. But I came up with the design, graphic design piece that placed on there. So that's why there's a value in understanding manufacturing versus handmade if you're wanting to speak about fashion, which I can talk about. These are all the things I can have a discussion on. And being 44, I have actually had many, many lives living not just different countries, but different types of lifestyles. So I've worked with designers, I've worked for designers, I've worked in music, I've worked with students, I've done my own stuff, I've done art, I've done exhibitions. This is like a full world of the arts. I'm introducing you guys to a world of the arts. It's not just one aspect. And I think I just wanted to share that information because I feel as if people assume, because it's YouTube, that a channel can only have one type of thing. Now, maybe back in the day, but being unique and original actually is the way forward, because why would you want to be like everybody else? You want to stand out like a sore thumb. You know, like I have people, why would you just want to be a musician? I mean, yeah, you can go that route. But as somebody that creates stuff, I would never be able to just be a musician only. If I go on stage, I would make my own garments. Simple as that, because that's what I do. I make my own clothing. So if I really have to, unless it's a super amazing Valentino, then I'll walk in wearing like a super amazing Valentino outfit. Simple. Like that's how I would do it. Okay. And I not even just worked, I actually studied 1 year of fashion in South Africa. So it was called London School of Fashion, which is connected to the London School of Fashion in London. So you can just imagine how very detailed it was when it came down to that kind of year. And then also you would have, I worked for a designer who happened to be friends with Issa Miyake. Okay, not worked, I apprenticed. And that was before I studied fashion. So I was already into the whole fashion thing. The initial plan was me going into Japan and actually doing something with Vogue. Went into the Vogue magazine office. So they have like an office there, and I actually walked in. And they were about to ask me to apprentice, but I think in the end, because I didn't speak fluent Japanese, it was sort of like a yay, nay, sort of maybe. So in the end, I didn't get the Vogue apprenticeship. I instead apprenticed for the designer in Tokyo named Jürgen Lill. You can look up, he's still alive. Issa Miyake is no longer with us. So that's my experience. I've been inspired by designers my whole life, and I really don't care what people think about my attire, because I know that I can sew and make stuff whenever I want to. And if the world just disappears and people cannot find outfits, for instance, and they cannot make a house, I know I'll be okay, because I can put all of that together on my own. I don't need anybody to tell me how to sew or to knit. That's something I can do. And if you guys are interested to learn, I can show people how to do the basics, okay? So that's basically it. We'll end off with another piece. I like to start and finish. Okay. One of my pieces I composed for my masters. sun begins to shine, and the day becomes clear. Da-da-da-da. People walking in a busy manner while the streets begin to crowd. Da-da-da-da. Don't be long. The day will pass you by before it's dawn. Don't be long before the day is gone. Okay, so that's just a quick introduction. I sang a little bit because somebody had asked me to sing. So let me explain. When you play piano and sing at the same time, it's not as easy as Alicia Keys makes it to look, okay? It takes a little bit of juggling there. You need to kind of know exactly what you're doing with the vocals and the piano at once. And you're doing two different things most of the time on what you're singing versus what you're playing. So your brain is doing two different types of things. So you have to be in the right frame of mind to actually really get to that point. So it's not an overnighter. I do appreciate it when people ask me to sing because I always get very shy. My sister's a singer. My mom is a singer. I'm less of a singer. I'm more of like a composer, but I will use this space as my inspiration to start singing a little bit more. And so there you go. So I have 3 levels to myself. And those 3 levels, I call them my 3 children. My 3 children because I've grown them as you would as a business. A business is also a child. It's like a child. You grow one section at a time. And I have 3 different elements too. So I see them as children. Okay, I don't have my kids. I don't have kids of my own necessarily. I have Dior. I had Dolce. She's no longer with us. But having 3 different types of skills, you need to know those 3 areas like relatively well to make it happen, right? It's not just an overnight thing. It's something I've developed since I was maybe all of them. So when I was a kid, I was doing fashion drawings. When I was a kid, I was knitting. When I was a kid, I was also doing art. And I was also doing music. So all 3 of those have always been part of my life. It's never been, oh, just go to school and study it. This is me. Like, I'm an artist, a musician, and a designer. And I call myself not any of those. I'm a multimedia artist because there's no one thing. That's just what I do. And I just want to let people know that, cultural diversity is great, but inclusivity, okay, you want to be inclusive. My thing is to be inclusive. I don't like to exclude different cultures. I want people to be included. And the moment some people say, oh, only focus on one culture, that's excluding the rest of the world. The whole point is to be inclusive. Allow people from different parts of the world to appreciate different things. Sure, bring in different elements and have discussions on it. But don't just focus on one country or one state or one location. Focus on all of them. That's me. And art is all over the world. It's a global discussion. Besides politics, which I absolutely cannot stand. Oh, and you know that Biden has just run out of his energy and he's just removed himself from, not as if I want to talk about it, but he is no longer going to be running for presidency, and Kamala Harris has taken over, possibly. Trump, as we know, is definitely there. And honestly, my personal opinion, I just wish that they could find somebody that could bring everybody together. I'm all about uniting. I'm not about separating identity, cultural discrimination, all that stuff. I just want somebody who understands everything. And I feel as if it's time that the United States kind of, and it has always been the world's, like, everybody wants to be, I don't know why it is, but the rest of the world is always trying to be more American than the other. And if that is the case, then America needs to step up and honestly do something about, like, how ridiculous they are. Because my personal opinion, this country needs a lot of work. A lot of work. I've lived in many countries, and this country is the most discriminatory. Sorry to say, folks, but it is. And I'm being dreadfully honest, okay? Discrimination is never the way to go. Inclusivity and growth, okay? Growing as a collective is the answer, okay? So that's basically it. Arigatou gozaimashita, matashi sayonara, and jane bye-bye. And I will see you guys in the next one.